But right now, like I said, let's bring you a recap of our stories on porous borders so far. Let's begin with Mahmoud Muhammad Nuruddin, who's been visiting communities in the Upper East region, where we understand that boundary demarcation has been a big issue. Residents there are concerned the minor confusions they encounter every day may degenerate into a full-blown conflict.
Wadana, one of the border communities in the Pusiga district of the Upper East region. At least 15 fuel stations usher visitors on a stretch of road that takes less than 10 minutes to cover, leading to the town center. It is unclear why such a number of fuel stations in a town with a population of only about 8,000. Many people who live here say it is because the town shares borders with Burkina Faso and Togo. On first visit here on June 15, 2019, it was a busy day as locals made trips across the entry points. Wadana stretches over Burkina Faso, Ghana and Togo. The huge number of visitors offers hope to many residents for business. Just a few meters away from Wadana is a community known as Bimpela, in which the white water flows through. This is one of the many porous entry points in the Wadana area. On our arrival at about 11 a.m. Saturday, June 15, we saw many young guys smuggling goods out of Ghana through the white water. Security personnel are hardly stationed here permanently to check what goes out and what comes in. Just when we were about to leave, these immigration officers on special duty from Accra, our camera captured the personnel seizing goods from the illegal traders from neighboring country Burkina Faso.
What are they saying? What are they saying?
They're saying that this part is Togo. This part is Togo. Our limit is up there.
As the motto of the service says, friendship and vigilance, the personnel conducted the operations in peace and with vigilance. The sentiment of these Burkinabés now bring to the fore contention between the two countries as to where the borderline ends. This disagreement has persisted for years, with both sides claiming ownership of the white water.
That was last 2 years. They nearly fought, we and then the Togolese, because of the river. The river, because according to our parents, the river is in Ghana. But now the Togo people are claiming that the river also belongs to them. So even last 2 years, they nearly fought there. And the customs, the Pusiga, this chief, Udana chiefs, they all delegated people. They came and then they went to the this and that.
And because there's no, border posts, we find it difficult to, actually know where, the border is. And because of that, we ourselves always find, ourselves quarreling because we don't have a clear, border post that will show that this is Togo, this is Burkina. So sometimes you might be moving into, Burkina, you don't know that you're moving into Burkina. Sometimes you're moving into Togo, you don't know you're moving into Togo. And because we are using the river as our border, any activity that happens here, once the person is able to cross the river, then the person thinks he's on the other land, either in Togo, in Burkina or in Ghana. And that was why I was saying that if we could have a clear border, line, then it will help us.
We can be conversing here and like in the night, 11 going to 12 or going to 1 even, we will see some car crossing the border and be in the country. We don't know that car, how it is.
Now the river, it serves as a kind of resource now. because people go there to win sand. And because people go to win sand, now Ghanaians think the river is in Ghana. Togolese think the river is in Togo. So there's always that kind of conflict. Anytime they go to win sand or anything that happens and you go there, there's always a conflict. So the river now is a source of conflict because it's like a kind of a wealth to either Ghana or Togo because the people go there to win sand.
Salifu Kazoza is the chief of Palmankum.
We are pleading to the governor that he should look that one for us. If not that, one day, it will cause a confusion. We don't want confusion to come so that the government will now come in to help us. So they are claiming that the places belong to Togo, and we are claiming that the places belong to Ghana. And there too, there is other places, and there is a bundle. If you go, you see the bundle. There is no any problem there. But the place where we can't find the bundle, that place is a problem for us.
Zubaru Abdullahi is the Pusiga District Chief Executive.
Can be able to tell us where the border lines are supposed to be. It is now discretion. These people would say that, oh, our grandfathers told us that this is where the pillar was supposed to be. And these people also tell us that their grandfathers say this is where the pillars are supposed to be. So we have to engage the community members and then the chiefs. And the chiefs among themselves cannot even agree as to where the pillars are supposed to be.
Mr. Abdullahi says a meeting was held for the three countries to look into the issue. He calls for external intervention to resolve the disagreement immediately.
Because of our relationship, we have formed some tripartite meetings where Ghana, Togo, and Burkina, the districts that are sharing border with the boundaries, we meet at least once every year in each country. I think last February, something, I think early this year, we met in Togo. Myself, my DASEC team, or when we met with the Togo team, Burkina also came with their team. We met, we discussed common border issues and how we can be able to resolve them locally while we send our reports to our superiors. And we have agreed that we will be meeting again very soon in Ghana here, and also we meet in Togo. The plan is that within a year we should be able to meet in all the three countries at least once, so that if there are this issue that need to be addressed, if there are concerns that need to be put out there, we will be able to address them within ourselves locally, so that we'll be able to have free movement of persons and goods within our jurisdiction without any fear.
Criminals capitalize on this porous entry point to commit all manner of illegality. Robbery is becoming the most widespread as residents recount their experiences.
So where I am standing is Ghana, but if you move a bit, I mean some few steps away from where I am standing, up there is Togo. And this is exactly where residents say most crimes have been committed for the past few days, and they are not happy about the situation here.
Yeah, the incident that happened here is that one of our brothers came from Togo. He went to see one of our relatives there, and he's coming back, and two armed robbers just attack him by the river here. When they just crossed him, they removed the gun, and they appointed him and said he should bring the key. He gave the key to them, and they take the motor away. They called us home, and they are passing through our Widana there, and we just come to meet them, but we didn't see them. They ran away. Widana here, we don't know self. We are Burkina based or we are Togolese. We don't know. Last week or last 2 weeks, Togolese came to attack us with our border here. They are for that place.
Yes, sorry,
When we were young, we were able to tell which portion of the land belonged to Ghana. But now, the Togolese keep building into our territory. Our leaders are silent on the issue, but we the youth are not happy at all. Authorities have been here on several occasions. The BNI, immigrations, customs and even military officials have been here, but as soon as they left, the matter died. Recently, the Togolese prevented our people from erecting electricity poles because they claim that portion of the land belongs to them. Fortunately, we were not around at that moment. I am sure if we were, conflict would have started right there. Do our authorities regard us as human beings? We want to know.
This is one of 2 approved entry points, Pulumankum in the Pusiga district. Officers here declined to speak on record, but they say multiple unapproved entry points and lack of logistics for security personnel here remain the biggest challenge. Only 1 patrol vehicle is available for patrols at the entry points on a daily basis. This is Kulungungu, another approved entry point in the district. Everything here is done perfectly for travelers and vehicle owners. These long trucks carrying onions from Niger have to undergo lots of documentation to be allowed to enter Ghana. Both customs and immigration officials must be alert, as they always make sure checks are done properly on travelers. But just some meters away is another unapproved entry point, providing access to many foreigners who either ride or walk.
So the building you see behind me, these buildings, are in Burkina Faso, and far away from my extreme left is the border over there, the Burkina border. And so what happens here is that people can walk in and out of Kulungungu without passing through the border over there.
Last month we experienced this, and we follow a thief who ran inside here, that we can't go after him because he has already crossed the border, and because there's no security here, he can't just pass there. He passed here and walk to Burkina.
People do visit anytime and leave anytime. Our people do go there through the same routes, and it doesn't pass through the border. So right now, you see the place is just clear. There are no security men around, and anybody walking in or riding in can come and leave without the notices of any security man or the neighbors around. The market is just around here. Anyone walking in just goes there and comes back, transacts any business he or she wants, and leaves. So regards to security is really poor. As we speak, right here, over here is very poor. Instead of passing through the border, I can decide to pass here to Burkina Faso and back. And then someone from Burkina Faso can equally pass here into the town and then back without any security personnel noticing his arrival and then departure.
There are many unapproved routes both Ghanaians and foreigners use to ply their trade, legal or otherwise. On June 24, 2019, 3 police officers from Togo entered Ghana to arrest a suspected fraudster at Congo in the Timpani district. The officers did not seek any clearance or even collaborate with their Ghanaian counterparts. Reliable sources say the Togolese used one of the unapproved routes to enter the country. Angry residents of Congo attacked the officers and seriously injured one of them and seized the weapon of the other. The Togolese officer was hospitalized, and it took the intervention of Ghanaian security personnel to restore calm. The situation at Mognori in the Boko municipality is not different. These residents are also alert due to proximity to where gunmen from Burkina Faso were spotted a few months ago. They say empowering security personnel to man this area is paramount. This river separates Ghana from Burkina Faso. Just like many porous entry points in the Burkina area, There's a lot of free trade here, and all one needs to do is to be able to cross the river. These young men have taken it upon themselves to monitor and report any suspected individual. They spend almost 6 hours monitoring while helping others with their luggage to cross the river. Isaka Salifu is one of them.
Anytime we spot a suspected criminal, we inform the immigration officers so that they would come and arrest him.
Idrisu Salifu is a Burkinabe but collaborates with the Ghanaian counterparts to report any suspected criminals. Salifu has been working closely with his Ghanaian friends since the news of gun attack in Burkina Faso.
Comme nous on sur les frontières, s'il y a un homme qui passe, c'est pas un bon homme, nous on peut le signaler, on veut l'attraper. Il y a les gens qui passent ici, nous on ne se connaît pas, comme on passe comme ça, on peut la.
Good evening, sir. We are from Burkina Faso, and all we do over here is that when we see unknown people in the area, we call them, we interrogate them, and sometimes we do search them. When their answers and appearance sound suspicious to us, we report them to the police for proper investigation. We have among us a Ghanaian who is helping us do this. The mindset behind this is that we want to avoid Boko Haram issues and other related matters.
Bonsoir. Comme nous on a une Burkinabé, nous on a là-bas, sinon on voit l'homme qui va passer ici au Ghana, c'est pas un bon homme, nous on peut arrêter, on appelle les policiers, on veut le vérifier, voir. Si c'est un bon homme, on laisse, on part. Si c'est pas un bon homme, on arrête seulement. Ça c'est le jeu arabe moi. Voilà, Boko Haram dans c'est man, voilà, on va m'en akazanu tunkaye.
It is really true that we are scared. Where gunmen attacked in Burkina Faso is not far from us. And if they start attacking your neighbors, then you may be their next target. We don't know what actually our neighbors did to receive that attack. We are really scared.
From Wedana, Pulmankum, Pulungugu, Bimpela, Mognori, and all other border entry points, both approved and unapproved, the spirit of West African integration comes to life. People walk across the borders to and from Ghana, Burkina Faso, and Togo. This can, however, be the Achilles heel of a region grappling with security concerns because criminals explore porous borders to commit crime. There are reported cases of armed robbery along the borders in the Boko area. The businessman Ibrahim, not his real name, was robbed of his money and other property at Wedana. These porous entry points have been classified as trouble spots, and residents say they are in constant fear.
Armed robbery, that one is even rampant. The armed robbery is even rampant because every blessed day they will attack people around Kogaram side, our nearby community. They will attack people there, collect their motos from them. Kogaram is just a stone through. If you cross the river, no, there is one community there. That's also Ghana. So always we have been hearing that people have been attacked and their motos have been taken away from them and even at times monies.
On the Burkina side too, there's one village there we call Sanga. Sometimes
Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin filed that report. We're still staying in the Upper East region. This time, Albert Sori, our correspondent there, reports even further on the very blurred boundary lines.
The Upper East region is located in the northeastern corner of Ghana and is the second smallest of the 16 administrative regions. The region is occupying a total land surface of about 8,842 square kilometers, or 2.7% of the total land area of Ghana. It is bordered by Burkina Faso to the north, Togo to the east, the Upper West region to the west, and the northern region to the south. Some of Ghana's official border posts in the Upper East region are located at Paga, Kulungugu, and Pulmakum. At these borders, persons coming into the country are screened thoroughly by immigration and custom officials before they are allowed entry. However, exactly same cannot be said of few in the Bongo district.
But where we are here, you see, this is Jelwongo, just where I'm talking. Because you can just cross here. In Jelwongo, you can just cross here.
Often called Bongo Fio, this community is neighbor to at least 6 Burkinabe communities, some of which are less than a kilometer away, according to the chief, Naba Ayenaba Azare.
If I just show my left here is Jelwongo. I go here, you go to ZC and you enter Ziu. You go up there, there is a place called Nargia. There's a place there you can enter Ziu. Jelwongo is Burkina. ZC, Ziu is Burkina. Nargia, Ziu is Burkina. Yelbia, Yelbisi is Burkina. Subuga, that's Subuga.
Despite this, there is no official border post in the area.
So there have been several times of stealing from Burkina Faso, and we have intercepted them. Terrorism, it can happen. When stealing can happen, why in the night or as the borders are porous and there's no any security man nearby or not permanent. There's a lot of smuggling which is passing here, outside the country and into the country. We have been seeing it. Yeah, I've seen it several times. The truck will come at an odd hour and passing.
There are immigration and customs checkpoints with assigned officers in the area, but the chief believes this is not enough.
They are far away. They are just here during daytime, but in the night you don't see them. And you know how terrorists come in. They pass through the porous roads. If not, they pass through the bush. And here we have the bush where they can pass through. So this is what we have seen, that there's a need to have a border post here, and we will work hand in hand.
This place here is one of the endpoints of the fuel market. It is only about half a kilometer away from one of the closest Burkina Faso communities. Desmond Atambiri is the assemblyman for the fuel electoral area.
Currently where we are standing is an exit point to Yeluongo, which is in Burkina Faso. When you take this route, you are going to Burkina Faso, which is a half kilometer from the fuel town. So this one is a free entry point for people of Burkina and then fuel. You have people taking advantage of this porous nature of the road to smuggle a lot of, especially the area of this planting for food and jobs. The people use this as a transit point for them to smuggle fertilizer out of the town.
He says members of this community were in a state of panic when news broke not too long ago of a terror attack in Burkina Faso.
Day in and day out, because Fio is not far from Burkina, we hear a lot of attacks not far from the border. So when we hear that, we were alarmed, and we were always alert, even in our churches. When we see visitors in our church, we were always intrigued about their presence. So in fact, when the issue was there, people were talking about it. In fact, the people of Fio were not at ease at all. We were always on tenterhooks, and
the people of Bongo Fio believe a well-established border post in the area will not only protect citizens, it will also help generate a lot of revenue for the country. Now, there is already immigration presence. The only thing is that it's challenging because they are few. And from what the chief tells us, these immigration officials don't reside in the community. So at night, people go in and come out. And so it's easy for criminal activity to take place without the culprits being easily identified. My name is Albert Sorry for Joy News.
So we know now that in the Upper West region, there are serious concerns about smuggling. There are serious concerns about theft, about armed robbery, or about armed attacks that happen there, which has been one of the biggest themes we've seen in the Upper East region. Well, let's go to the Upper West region, from where Rafiq Salam reports that security has been beefed up with the influx of some Burkinabe seeking refuge from terror attacks in their country and subsequent arrest of some of the Burkina Faso nationals with loaded pistols, one in church and one in a marketplace.
The Upper West region is one of the 16 regions of Ghana. It is located at the northwestern corner of Ghana, bounded to Burkina Faso to the north and Ivory Coast to the southwest. It covers a geographical area of 18,476 square kilometers, representing 12.7% of the total land area of Ghana. Until the creation of 6 other regions, it used to be the 7th largest region and made up of 11 municipalities and districts. The region has a projected population of 1 million people. By virtue of its location, the Upper West region has the potential for international and inter-regional trade and other bilateral relations, but the overspill of criminal activities and disaster such as bushfires, diseases and pestilence, armed robbery from the region's neighbors also pose a threat. There is even a more serious issue on hand now: the attacks on churches in Burkina Faso by suspected terrorists raise the alarm bells in the region. Kweku Bawane is a career diplomat and former external intelligence operative stationed in the Middle East. He was one of 4 Ghanaian external intelligence operatives embedded in Lebanon in 1972 to study or cover the problems of terrorism. He painted a mental picture of the porous nature of the country's borders in the northwestern end of the country.
Our border runs around almost about 200 miles, where you have to pick it from the Tumu area and come all the way to Hamele. Then from Hamele, you come southwest along the Black Volta, okay, all the way down to Taliewodo and all the way down there. And I'm saying that if I get 1,000 people and take them to any of those borders, all the 1,000 can actually go across and, each one find a route to get into, Burkina Faso. I'm also saying that the delineation, of the border has not been well done. Nobody actually knows where the latitudes and longitudes belong. Nobody can actually pinpoint where Ghana ends and where Burkina Faso takes over. Then also along the borders, especially to the northern portion, okay, you are going to have people crossing over to their farms. Farmers have their farms across the border. Those in Ghana have their farms in Burkina. Those in Burkina have their farms in Ghana. They go across for funerals, they go for weddings, they go to the market. So you see, there's a fluid nature of cross-border activity.
There was fear and panic in the region following the arrest of a 51-year-old Burkinabe gunman during the church service at Hambele a couple of months ago. The arrest of Desiree Biligo and subsequent arrest of another Burkinabe gunman in Hambele has raised serious questions about the preparedness of the country's security, considering the porous nature of the country's borders, especially the Upper West region. Apart from the 2 official borders located at Tumu and Hambele, there are over 100 communities located close to the Black Volta that are without borders. Residents and other travelers use these unapproved routes either on foot during the dry season and boats during the peak rainy season. Chief Superintendent Abdullahi Zakaria is the Deputy Upper West Commander of the Ghana Immigration Service.
The unapproved routes are entry points that are unofficial, but are being pattrolled by our special unit called the Border Patrol Unit. So in that case, we wouldn't say that our borders are porous, and we deploy officers based on intelligence.
Outgoing General Officer commanding the Northern Command, Brigadier General Francis Ofori, conceded that the country's borders are porous, but pointed out that plans are afoot to fixing them through monitoring.
When you go to some of the places, I won't tell you. I will not tell you. We have noticed that some places where, I mean, there are no immigration or custom personnel there to be able to man the place. But we have noticed a lot of those, and we are beginning to seal them. Sealing them in a sense of monitoring, keeping an eye over some of these things. So that what goes in and comes out, we are able to have some measure of control over those things.
The Ministry of National Security, in collaboration with the Upper West Regional Security Council, RECSEC, and its bid to ward off suspected terrorists from the country, deployed contingents of military personnel from the airborne force led by Major Fatau Abdullahi and stationed at the eastern corridor of the region. 3 dozen police personnel from the Foreign Police Unit (FPU) have also been deployed to undisclosed locations in the region to complement the work of the airborne force. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, who also doubles as the chairman of the Upper West RECSEC, spoke of plans put in place to make the region safe for the people.
They are not centered in war. They are at strategic points where we think that people are likely to try to come into Ghana through. They are stationed there so that there will be a barrier to those persons.
Koku Bawani, however, has doubts about the strategy employed to ward off suspected terrorists from the country.
Where we are sitting right now, we are in Wa. From Wa to Burkina Faso, it's just 25 minutes. In 25 minutes, you are in Burkina Faso. You pass through my house, you go to Dormo, you are in Burkina Faso. By the time we are talking about Burkina Faso, people in Wa are taking to Hamele, and that place is so porous. How many security vehicles are on that road? There's almost nothing. Recently, when there was some support system, we had a Foreign Police Unit and some vehicles. Where are they? They have been withdrawn to Accra. What sort of security is that?
They are still on post.
Are they at post? Are they at Dormo?
Some are at Tumu and some are at Hamele.
Are they there right now as we are talking? Have you seen them today? Have you called today? But every district in the Upper West region needs not less than 10 pickups.
For now, the borders are porous. Constructing a fence wall will be too costly and not on the agenda of the government. However, deployment of more intelligence and security officers equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment to communities lying close to the Black Volta will maybe put a seal on the porous borders.
They are not well resourced. You go to them, they have no vehicles. When they have vehicles, no tires. When they have tires, there's no petrol. Anytime there's a problem, the politicians want to put pressure on the policemen. It will never work. I repeat, it will never work. Give the security personnel the tools, they will do the job.
Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Rafiq Salam reporting from Wade. Well, as you are well aware in that report, logistical constraint has come up as strongly as one of the key issues affecting immigration services at most of Ghana's borders in the regions up north. And the immigration boss himself, the Controller General, has been going around checking of what the situation is. Well, the service says there is a high possibility of arms smuggling into the country. The Deputy Controller General Lord Ofori Atta has been speaking to my colleague Roland Walker, and he speaks about the wide nature of the land area in Ghana that makes it practically impossible to strictly enforce border controls.
We started doing all this. We saw that essentially, as citizens, we didn't even know what was border security in the first place. What would that be?
Let's have this conversation. Come down to a level where everybody can
understand. Level, so that I can understand.
Border security is simply putting in measures that protects a country's borders against threats. Simply put, that it is. So the mechanisms that the state puts in, the agencies put in to ensure that the border is secure against threats coming across it and going across it. That is simply border management. Some of the threats that we talked about illegal crossings. We are talking about terrorism, human smuggling, human trafficking, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, piracy. Piracy because the sea. People don't even know that the coastline is also a border. Yes. So we talk about the coastline, how you secure it. Then also you talk about health. Not only the physical things that smuggling that you see, but health.
Health?
Yes.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, diseases, etc., that come across, and other things that are brought in. So, for example, there's Ebola now raging in Congo now.
Oh, but that's in Central Africa.
Yes, but we are having students from Congo coming to school, visitors coming in. Any of them could transport it, so we don't take any chances.
So as Immigration Service, you tend to look out for all these?
We look out for everything. And where it doesn't fall directly within our purview, we collaborate with the agency that is in charge of that. We call the attention to what is happening, and then we find ways to secure the borders against it. So that is in a nutshell what we call border security. But in looking at border security, you should look at it in the wider context of border management. You only look at it as it is, as you see the agencies working there. But you look at it in the wider security of border management, that what the strategies and mechanisms that a state or an agency puts in to secure its border. And that is what ensures the border security. So if you don't have a national strategy, a wider strategy to manage the border, because the border is managed by many agencies, not only one agency. We have immigration, we have customs, you have narcotics, you have plant quarantine from the Ministry of Agriculture, you have Port Health from the Ministry of Health, you have Ghana Standards Authority, you have Foods and Drug Board. Everybody is performing a function targeted at something. So if you don't come together to look at the security of the border, you will fight among yourselves, and then there are loopholes that people will come through. So you put together what we call a border management strategy, which is holistic, brings all the agencies together. And then also in our world, you see that resources are a bit scarce. So you put all these agencies together and you look at issues, resourcing them. Coming together, joint patrols, etc., interagency collaboration. And then you also look at it at the other side of the border. Cross-border collaboration with our partners at the other side under international cooperation. So that is how we want to look at it. You look at it in its wide context. Thank you. You develop your border management strategy according to the threats that you identify, and then you put in or you design the strategy to tackle it. So at every time you have to be reviewing the situation to see what the current trends are. So currently Ghana, in the short term, our border security strategy is driven by the threat of terrorism, especially from the sub-region, and most specifically from our northern border, Burkina Faso. You've been following the news.
Yes, we do.
So you certainly see that Burkina Faso is about 2/3 of the country. Now it's virtually ungovernable, and it sits directly on our. One of the last attacks that happened, it only happened about 10 kilometers from one of our border posts, Kulungungu. So it means that anything at all could happen. They could transport. You look at it in the context of the issues of terrorism. How are they operating in the sub-region? You see that they are expanding. Right from Nigeria, Boko Haram, coming into Niger, Mali, the tip of Mauritania, coming down Burkina Faso. It means that they are extending. And for terrorists, you can never tell when. But certainly, Ghana is now facing a veritable threat of terrorism. So our border strategy now is geared towards tackling that in the short term, and in the long term, general security.
What have we done to beef up our own forces then?
Yes, certainly when you look at our borders, you usually analyze it and see how it's structured. So you see that from the south, forest areas going up Athens, and in the north, as you rightly said, Savannah, open lands. And then you see that we are managing almost over 2,000 kilometers of land borders. The sea has another over 500. Yes.
That's massive.
And we have only 45 land border posts over the distance of over 2,000, almost 2,400 kilometers. So you can imagine. So between the border posts, the length, and then what is between them, the vegetation, the topography. So forest zones, rivers, mountains, some of them are even inaccessible. Means you have to walk in real forest to get to the border. So the nature of the border itself presents a challenge. It is artificial in the first place, carved out by the Europeans under colonialism. So they're artificial. So you look at all these things and see where the highest risk is. Then you deploy your resources accordingly. So, for example, we see the Aflao stretch. That is a bit crowded. You see Aflao sits on the border.
You had the Lord Ofori Afrifa, who is the Deputy Controller General of the Immigration Service, speaking to Roland Walker. Well, he's been talking about a national strategy on border controls and the necessity of it if we are to stay safe as far as our borders are concerned. He's also been talking about what can be done in the short term. He says we need to deal with the threat of terrorism.
But making an inference from what you're saying, you're telling me, and in reality,
yes.
For example, I've been, over the last year, 2 years, I've been to Togo, Lomé, and other communities or towns just close to Lomé. And I have seen relatives who have families in Togo, they have also families in Aflao and in many other areas in Ghana.
Yes.
And they go to have ceremonies and events, funerals. You see that somebody lived in Ghana, but he's going to be buried in Togo. Somebody lived in Togo is going to be buried in Ghana. And you are also telling me that we have relatives on the side. Now, who will tell on his relative? Who would be a whistleblower on his relative, ideally? And if that relative is a known terrorist or could be a suspected terrorist, who would tell on his relative?
Well, it happens. It's a community. It's human nature. So when you engage the community, you see, despite all these threats that we face, you find that people are interested in their country's security, in their heart. Yes, they will engage in smuggling, etc. But they would not want a terrorist to come and cause harm in their country.
Okay. Now, for areas bordering northern Ghana, can you tell us the posts or the number of border posts you have?
Northern Ghana...
is it northern
Upper East?
Upper East.
Upper East has 7.
Region?
Upper East region has 7.
7, only 7 border posts?
Yes, 7.
The whole of...
the stretch, yes. From Paga to Pulimakum. So, but you see, you can't have border posts dotted closely.
But nobody is saying we should have it close.
No, I'm just saying that. So, like I said, Niger, over 5,000. They have just about 20.
Our comparison is Niger.
No, I'm just saying. Now, I mean, that is general border management. Border management is the same everywhere. Just that countries, and even in country, border posts have their peculiarities. But basically, it's virtually the same concept. So it has 7. And when you come to the Upper West, it has 2. Upper West has 2. Tumu and Hamile and Ada. And then, like you said, many unapproved routes. So
we had Lord Ofori Afrifa, who is the Deputy Controller General for the Immigration Service. Let's wrap up our recap of porous borders with government response. We've heard from the Information Ministry. We've also heard from the Interior Ministry. Information Minister Kojo Oppong Nkrumah says plans are advanced to tighten security at our borders.
Security has been a matter that all of us have been concerned with right from the beginning of this year, not just because of the heightened reportage of some of the security incidents in our country, but also because of the security climate within the West Africa sub-region, the administration has shown good faith by commencing an exercise of retooling the security agencies, the police and the military. You regularly see that they are being retooled. You also regularly see that they are recruiting some more numbers and beefing up their numbers. But all of this requires money. It is our expectation that part of this 6 billion, as invested in the further improvement of our security, should deliver a lot of value to the people of Ghana. Security operations are such that we may not give so much detail, because once you give so much detail, you are also arming whoever may be thinking and thoughts towards you. But I do know for a fact that border improvements are included or border security improvements are included in the broad spectrum of security interventions that we are talking about. And part of the resources from this 6 billion will be applied in that area. But I am unable to give you any further detail.
Let's now hear from the Deputy Interior Minister.
Porous borders is no secret. Indeed, we have porous borders in this country. What the question rather should be is how best are we handling it? And that I can tell you on authority that the Ghana Immigration Service has deployed men and women and equipment to most of these porous borders. In the last 2-3 months, if you've been following the news or the sit-reps, you'll notice or realize that quite a number of arrests have been made. And so we are on a steady progress, and we will get there.
That is the Deputy Interior Minister there speaking to Maxwell Agbagba. This week we'll be focusing, like I said, on the Volta region as we continue with our series on porous borders.